And welcome back to Home Built Help's Tip of the Week. Experimental aviation in the U.S. allows aircraft builders to innovate when constructing their home build. This is a prime benefit of building an experimental aircraft. In simple terms, it means building with personal choices and features that suit a builder's need, not what some airplane factory thinks you want. And even when building a kit, you can deviate from the plans if you deem yourself competent to do so. I recently had the opportunity to monitor and participate in a build of a Zenith Super Duty kit aircraft. This is a brand new model. It is a variation of the popular STOL 750 aircraft. It is called a Super Duty because it sports a seating capacity of 3 and a greater load carrying capacity compared to their 2-seat model. This was a prototype kit as the final production models were not available during this build. This is not a promotional video for Zenith. The builder here paid full price for this kit. Rather, watch as I highlight innovative modifications that were made to the factory plans during the build. We started with the fuselage bottom. This consists of a flat sheet and 2 sets of longerons. The longerons were all pre-drilled, which made it pretty easy to match them up and cleco them together. Then all we had to do is add the stiffeners, which were angles that went on the inside, and they were pre-drilled also, so we just clecoed them together. And then it was simply a matter of turning the whole structure over and start riveting. Couldn't be too much easier so far. A few bulkheads get clecoed and riveted at the rear, and a few channels for the control structures get clecoed at the front, along with other brackets as needed. That's about it for the bottom. Then we start with the sides. Of course, we have 2 of these, a left and a right. The same thing. We're going to add stiffeners, which are already pre-drilled, so we just cleco them on and then get our rivet gun ready and rivet them up. At the very front is a structure that our wings will attach to, and note how all of the holes have been pre-drilled, so it's just a matter of clecoing them together and using the appropriate rivets. Then we reach the stage where we're going to attach our sides to the bottom. Since we had a few extra hands, it made the job a lot easier than working by yourself. The holes are already there, so we just cleco them together. And of course we have a second side, and the exact same is going to happen over there. And then that front frame that the wings attach to gets riveted up at the very front, and this will stiffen the structure nicely. And then the top. And again, having a number of hands really made this go very easy. It didn't hurt that most all of us had built quite a few kits before. And then a lot of riveting. But that's kind of the fun part. There are more structures on the top. Notice the sunroof at the very front. And this is the baggage back, which is a big sheet with a bunch of stiffeners and a few other parts. And that gets set right into place and riveted. All of these steel parts were powder coated so that they would not corrode or rust, and this control arm is now put into place and riveted and bolted into location. Stiffeners that go along the sunroof are installed, and then the final riveting is performed along the top. Now, what makes this different from the standard STOL models is the third seat, and in this area we are installing this seat, And of course later we'll see one of the modifications is this area can also be used for luggage. This is the completion of the rear fuselage, and it sure didn't take a very long time. Now we're not going to bore you with the construction of the forward part of the fuselage. That is finished and joined to the rear fuselage along with the steel cage, which has been powder coated. So this is now ready for paint, and it has been painted a flat black, which will contrast nicely with the orange powder coating. All of the steel parts have been powder coated, as is this front fork, as well as the landing gear, and then also the seat frames inside. So all steel parts are covered, and later we'll see this front panel area, which is the unpanel with a modification. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Our gear is installed and powder coated, and keep in mind that powder coating was used even on complete structures like the horizontal tail. That's not paint, that's powder coating. A nice job. We're going to be very quick with the wings. We're not going to bore you with assembling the wings, only the parts that are somewhat unique. This wing is very long, much longer than the other STOL models, because it's lifting a much heavier plane. And here is the large fuel tank, and that comes stock with this plane. Lots of fuel. The one modification that was made was that a improved fuel sender was installed and welded into the top, and this replaces the stock fuel sender that came with the kit. The Super Duty needs quite a bit of horsepower, much more than 100 horse, so the builder has chosen his own engine. This is a 180 horse turbocharged Viking Honda based engine, and has done a very nice installation job here. This is all custom work, and a custom radiator on the bottom is being fitted here. Behind the radiator is a wonderful LED, very bright light. This draws about 10 amps, which is quite significant for an LED light, so you can get an idea of how bright that is going to be. This plane is going to be used in some very rough terrain, so it's going to get equipped with some very large Alaskan bush tires. These were fitted to the standard Matco wheels and the Matco brakes, and will allow this plane to land just about anywhere as planes go. Now I really like this. This is where the third seat used to be. It was removed, and a flexible nylon baggage bag was put here to keep your baggage when you don't have a third occupant. Notice the instruments were put in a center column in the console here, and that leaves free the panel. There is no panel. Here we have two flexible arms that can hold a display device for the pilot and the co-pilot separately. One of the nicest innovations, I think, is the windshield. Now, this is the standard windshield that comes with the Zenith kit. However, the builder has used hinges to hold the windshield on both the left and right columns. Part of the hinge is attached to the acrylic, the other half to the post. And what that means is if you want to remove the windshield, it simply takes the pull of a pin on one side and the pull of a pin on the other, and the windshield can be removed. What this means is it's easy for maintenance to get to avionics and other components. And here's a good choice for decorating the plane, is to use decals from a sign shop, whether they're for decorations or for signage. They go on very nicely and look professional. An improvement was made to the bubble glass doors. This is actually acrylic. The common problem has been the rivets that have caused stress cracks. Instead, some very strong adhesive tape is used around the perimeter, and then the acrylic is placed on the adhesive, and then some mechanical clips will ensure that it never pulls off the adhesive. This way we do not have to worry about stress risers from those rivets. And I really like this. This is the fairing for the rudder cable. Instead of using a hard block of fairing material, the builder has used some nylon tubing with a clamp that really helps direct and guide that cable. Very ingenious. And here we just see how the wing was initially rigged to the plane using a forklift. It was also used for painting, and this allows you to adjust the height just right while rigging the wing. And also for the pitot tube, we use an access panel, and this way the panel can be removed to get to the connections to the pitot tube and have maintenance access to the wing. That was very nice. And for the tail, because this is a STOL airplane and the tail can swing down and hit the ground, this fiberglass spring leaf, if you will, was attached to the aircraft, and this allows you to hit the ground hard and not do any damage to the plane. And you notice the flexibility there as it is tested. This is the interior, completely finished now. The plane is at a show, and we can see how the interior was finished off. It looks very nice with the diamond skid plates at the feet and for the brake pedals. And for security reasons, the avionics panels were removed from the panel. Customizing an aircraft kit to make it safer and mission ready is what experimental aviation is about. And by watching others build, we gain so much motivation for our own projects. So everyone, back to building.